Let me actually show you what happens to your body when you lose weight on Ozempic. Let's say you originally weighed 250 pounds. You start the drug over 68 weeks and you end up losing on an average about 50 pounds. 40 pounds of what you lost, it is not fat, it's actually muscle. So you lost 30 pounds of fat, but you also lost 20 pounds of muscle. And when you lose 20 pounds of muscle, you haven't gotten smaller. You've essentially downgraded your V8 engine to a lawnmower engine. So after 68 weeks, you stop the drug. And then within a year, the clinical trials show that you will gain back 2/3 of the weight that you lost. But here's the part that should terrify you. What comes back is nearly all fat. The muscle does not come back. You're 233 pounds. You lost a total of 17 pounds, but all of that was muscle, not fat. So that puts the person in a situation where now their metabolic machine is even slower than when they started. And this is why they will tell you that you have to be on this for the rest of your life at $1,000 a month. Ozempic is actually hijacking a system that you already have in your body that should be working, but it's not because it's dysfunctional. I'm going to show you how to use that system that's already in place. Before I show you the full system that Ozempic is borrowing from, I'm going to show you a very simple and powerful thing that you can do starting at your next meal. The first thing that you should do when you eat is you should eat a combination of protein and fiber, back and forth. Don't eat all the protein and then start on the fiber. Eat a little bit of protein, a little fiber, a little protein, a little fiber. There's some clinical trials that show that that can actually reduce your blood sugar spikes by 29 to 40%. I mean, I don't even know any supplements that can come close to that data. It's just a simple hack and a simple thing that anyone can do. All right, so now let's show you how the GLP-1 system works. Inside your digestive system, you have these specialized cells called L cells. And on these cells, you have these tiny little sensors. And there's various things that can press them to create an effect and increase this thing called GLP-1. When you take something like Ozempic, you're taking a synthetic version of this that's bypassing all of this and not just pressing one of those buttons. It is really keeping it pressed for like an entire week. And typically what a GLP-1 is doing is three things. It's telling the brain, I am full. Number two, it's releasing insulin. So if there are some blood sugar problems, it's going to go in there and remove that. And number three, it's going to slow the digestion, okay? So the food doesn't dump too fast. So this is one of the systems that the body uses to maintain healthy weight. But here's the problem. In most people today, this system is broken. You have a problem with the whole insulin situation, and the food could actually move too fast through the digestive tract. So Ozempic comes in there and creates a super powerful effect to bypass everything and very powerfully push that button to make sure that you're triggering GLP-1 and at doses that you would normally never produce. And that's why you have a lot of the side effects. So the big question is there a way to fix this system? And the answer is yes. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that with a very specific protocol based on real science. The company behind Ozempic and Wegovy generated over $20 billion in a single year. Their stock price tripled. Their internal strategy was not to cure obesity. It was to create lifetime patience. And so the drug companies, with the backing of the FDA, have now kind of encouraged people to never come off this drug. Why can't we just show people how to activate their own system without the drug, without the $1,000 a month revenue stream? So let's dive into how to activate this system without Ozempic. So without getting too technical into the science and talking about the specific receptors, I'm just going to give these a number, okay? So the first two receptors, which you don't need to know the name, are triggered by something called short chain fatty acids. Your microbes will ferment fiber and turn it into acetic acid. And this is why apple cider vinegar and some of these short chain fatty acids have the capacity to trigger these first two buttons. Now, does it compare to GLP-1? No. It's a tiny effect. But if we stack all of these together, we can create a bigger effect. In this category right here, we have fermented foods like sauerkraut. We also have apple cider vinegar. But if you think about it, if you're taking apple cider vinegar diluted in water, you're creating a very short little press on one of those buttons versus consuming fiber with each meal. Because when these microbes break down fiber, it's going to turn into small chain fatty acids. And that's going to create a much bigger effect than just drinking a little apple cider vinegar. And we'll come back to fiber in a little bit. But then we have the third, fourth, and fifth buttons. Those are activated by certain fats, omega-3 fats. Fish oil, cod liver oil. We also have olive oil, and we have avocado oil. And also, as a side note, Ouzempic only triggers one of these buttons. And yes, it triggers it pretty hard, but what I'm talking about right now is how to trigger all 8. Number 6 and 7 are amino acids, okay? I'm talking about high quality animal protein. Triggers the L cell and activates GLP-1. And that's why protein is one of the most satisfying macronutrients, because it triggers this right here. Bile salts activate GLP-1. And also I learned that bile salts not only activate GLP-1, but they have the ability to increase more of these L cells in your digestive system, which makes your L cells more sensitive to GLP-1. And then I looked at certain types of bile salts, right? And I found TUFCA being one that can actually create a significant effect. And I'm not saying that you have to take bile salts, but if you were to take TUFCA or bile salts, make sure you take this with a meal to help activate it. All right, now let's talk about the specific fiber you would need to make more of these short chain fatty acids. Could you make these short chain fatty acids with a salad? Unfortunately, not very much. I'm not recommending not to have it, but it's not something that's going to be very significant to produce this right here and activate the L cell. Why? Because it's not the right type of fiber for the microbe to convert into this short chain fatty acid. And by the way, this is what feeds the colon cells. And again, we come right back to the microbe. The microbes have helped us in so many different ways for our health, even helping us with weight loss. You don't want to just have any old fiber. It has to be a specific type of fiber, okay? And so let's go through the list of the types of fibers that can help increase this right here. All right, let's start from the top. Inulin, which is a fiber in garlic and onions, is very, very powerful in making this right here. So you might want to just add garlic and onion to a lot of your foods. So we have garlic, onions, leek, asparagus, artichoke, flaxseed, chia seed. You can maybe put that in some shake with some kefir, something like that. And then the fiber in avocado. But instead of the salad, what you should probably use as your salad is sauerkraut. 1 teaspoon of sauerkraut can be way better than a big salad if you're trying to activate your GLP-1. It already has in it short chain fatty acids from the microbes that are breaking it down. Second, it gives you live bacteria, lactobacillus, which is part of the gut microbiome. And then third, you have the fiber, okay, cabbage itself, which is the raw material to feed the microbes. So the fiber in cabbage is a good fiber to actually activate this. So honestly, if I were you, if you wanted to mimic this, I would have at least a tablespoon of sauerkraut with everything you eat. And remember, consume your protein with fiber. So even with me, what I do is if I'm going to have like a burger, I'll put the sauerkraut on the burger and I'll eat it together. Or you could put the onions with the burger and eat that together, or onions with eggs and eat that together. Or you could mix the avocado with the egg or the avocado with your meat and eat it together. So I wanted to step back for a moment and look at the big picture. Here's what the broken system is doing to our body. We develop diabetes, we get a fatty liver, and this is why we're hungry all the time, and we crave certain things, and we have blood sugar issues. All of those things are downstream, okay? They're over here. And this is where medicine treats people. This is what they focus on. Even obesity, they'll tell you that that is a primary cause when it's really not. It's somewhere in the middle right here. Like even visceral fat. Yes, it is true that visceral fat creates problems with inflammation and it creates toxicity in your body and it can actually worsen insulin resistance, but it's not at the root cause. It's right in the middle right here. And they're telling you that, well, that's the cause and we have to treat that. But in reality, it's late on the chain of events. Unfortunately, medicine does not look at root causes. They do not focus on lifestyle changes. And this is the problem with Ozumbek. It's focusing on something way downstream. It literally takes 10 to 15 to 20 years before you get pre-diabetes. Okay, so this insulin resistance has to be brewing in the oven for many, many years before you even come over here. And so if we go backwards right here, this is where we need to focus on ultra-processed foods, a sedentary life. The food is too abundant and too available, so literally we're grazing 24/7 because the food is in our face. So all of the things I told you are going right back to down over here to the root cause. These are lifestyle changes. Anyone can do this. It's going to actually help you reestablish these L cells and can create a huge impact. But with a couple additional things I'm going to show you, it can be significant. And on top of that, you won't lose your muscle and you don't have to take a drug and there won't be side effects. So let's just kind of go through the list. Number one, I would highly recommend that you eat a little protein, a little fiber, a little protein, a little fiber. Eat these together as the first thing that you do. Number two, ditch the starches and the sugars. When you start decreasing the refined carbohydrates, you're going to adapt to your fat, burning your own fat, and your appetite is going to go away just from this right here. I highly recommend that you walk after your meals. Not only are you going to burn off any sugar in your bloodstream, but you're going to reduce your stress. Walking reduces stress, which is going to automatically help you sleep. And number four, probably the most important, that should be up here, 1 to 2 meals only per day, no eating between the meals, and especially at night, no snacking. After dinner, put a little sign on your refrigerator that says the kitchen is closed. And lastly, if you're ready, introduce weight training. Weight training is the absolute best way to preserve muscle mass as you age. Realize that your muscle is a metabolic machine. It's your metabolism. If you have good muscles and enough muscles without atrophy, your metabolism will be much healthier, especially as you age. And so many people lose muscle mass and then they start developing more fat ratio. So now that you have these basics, I have a lot more details about intermittent fasting in this video right here. Very important, check it out.